Hello and welcome to tracc.eu. We are racing on Indianapolis today in this night race here of the TGT, this round of the TGT, and wow, I'm happy to be here because I am not forced to go out on the track. It is a rather difficult track to race at, especially in the night. So we are looking today at the fourth round of the tracc.eu GT Cup Season 24-1, so on the first trimester of the year. And there's a bunch of people here. But first of all, there is another person sitting, well, not next to me, but in spirit, he's right next to me. It is Ivano. How are you doing?
Yes, Dylan, thanks for introductions. Yes, I'm doing pretty good. And as you said, we're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. Sadly, we're not running the oval. We don't have the cars for that. But hey, road course is going to be plenty fun, and is a rather challenging layout. And as you said, in the night, it's not going to get any easier.
That is correct. It is a very challenging layout. It is the Roval layout. We're going to take a look at what exactly we're running during the qualifying session. However, for now, let us take a look at the standings. And we're starting off here with the... There we go, with the AM class. And in the AM class, we have one very clear leader at the moment. It is Gary Slater in front of Adrian Dubrovka and Ava Yuki. Gary Slater, of course, having been able to so far to win every race in his class. So that is some quite impressive showing. Maybe we have to think about moving him up to silver class next season.
Yeah, Scary Slater, definitely a pretty solid driver. When the pace is there for him, he can even challenge some of the silver drivers. So if a class change for him does happen, I'd say he'll fit right in. I don't think there's going to be like any sort of issues regarding that.
Exactly. So next up, let's take a look at the silver class. In the silver class, we obviously have Moritz Hiccup leading the way. In front of Scott Brewer and Isaac Umbras, and right behind Isaac Umbras there's Alessandro Germani and Nabil Nasran. These three are fighting for third position in the standings, and all are 1 point within one another. That is as close as you can get.
Yeah, that's about as close as anybody's going to be getting when it comes to a fight like that. And don't forget, we still have 2 more rounds to go, but 2 more rounds is not going to be that much more points. So if those guys gonna beat each other to third in the standings, they're gonna need a exceptional level of consistency compared to the other two.
Exactly. Next up, we'll take a look at the Pro class, where Einar Rose is currently leading the way ahead of... Oh my god, am I happy to say this. In second position in the standings for Pro class, we currently have Michael Dieringer, our guy in the writer.
Yes, Einar Rose has been pretty much one of the best drivers that Track.eu has ever seen. But Mike, in second in the writer, that's absolutely an incredible Cinderella story if I've ever seen one. You know, he's a very fast driver, we already know that, but he's also a writer fanatic, and he's showing that, and he's not let the presence of an esport driver sway him away from the writer, and he's actually doing very good, very solid, and seeing him be as fast as he is at times is like pretty incredible.
Especially, exactly. I mean, currently it is mostly just him being consistent and being present in every race, but that is oftentimes what it mostly comes down to, being consistent and being able to get in those points. And third position, we obviously have Ruby Acosta, followed very closely by Alba George and Gabriele Cripezzi. These three again within 2 points, so these three are also fighting for overall third position. However, I don't think there will be much of a battle between Ruby Acosta and Alba George, because obviously they are in the same team.
Yes, but maybe there's gonna be times where being teammate is gonna be thrown out the window for that final spot at the top 3. You know, you never know.
Exactly. Now let's take a real quick look at the team standing. We have in the lead currently Yandere Racing with Gary Slater and Amethysta V-Tube. Gary Slater, of course, carrying a bunch of those points with his own 75 that he so far amassed in AM class, followed by Queen's Design, only 2 points behind that. And then we have Hikari Racing, a bit off the mark, but still currently in a comfortable third position, the all-Swiss team. Now that we talked about that, I'm sorry we cannot mention everyone, but it is qualifying time, so let's walk over to qualifying, and I have to quickly fix something. I'm very sorry. There we go. Now everything should be heard and seen correctly. Einar Rose is just coming across the finish line for a 1:35.470. That is, of course, at the moment pole because it's the only time. Julian Metzner, 6.5 tenths behind that. Morris Hiccup, 1.7 seconds behind that. And here we can already see the times are coming in, the first flying laps.
As we see, so the night time is gonna definitely make setting in good laps very challenging, because the track has some parts of the track where some braking points and some turning points in general are somewhat based on the scenery. So the nighttime does kind of make it a bit difficult, as we see. I believe that was, who was it? There was a BMW that's going a little slidey there behind Einar Rose.
Yeah, that could be... Oh, that's not Albert George. Albert George is in a completely different part of the track. But Einar Rose is coming towards the finish of the lap here. And I guess they are going to go for another lap. So let's try and see something from the passenger side. And why don't you take us through a lap, because you raced here a few weeks ago in V-Track.
So I actually won the race, if you remember that. Yeah. But yes, as we go along now with Einar down the main straight of Indianapolis road course, very high speed, very long straight, braking at the third board there, very nice. Got a very patient on the throttle. Just a little lift for turn 2. Now heading on to turn 3. Bit of the grass. It doesn't slow down the car too much. As soon as you finish turning, you right on the brakes. After that, there you go. If you're good, if you have the right lane, you can take turn 5 flat out, and then as soon as you're done turning again, right on the brakes for turn 6. Patient on the throttle as you do a little tap on the brakes to get onto the back straight. Oh, little on the grass there for Einar Rose, but it's still fine for his mighty power as we now head down to turn 7. Big on the brakes once again. Careful. And these chicanes are actually just nice little slight lifts to get the line just right as we now head around to turn 10 very early on the throttle. The entry is a bit deceiving. It's gonna feel very early. Now onto the one part of the well, as we now head down to the final chicane at turn 12. Very tight, very easy to make a mistake here. Turn 13, again, very high patient corner. Then you just go flat out to turn 14, and that is basically a lap around Indianapolis.
Yeah, now we're on the start-finish straight again. Let's take a look if Einar Rose improved the time. No, well, a bit. seems to have improved a bit. Julian Metzler also improved a bit. Rubia Costa currently in 3rd position. And then we have the first silver driver already, with Morris Hiccup being currently in front of Albert Judge.
Moritz, on a good day, can definitely challenge the pros, but it seems like silver is a good spot for him right now, as consistency does seem to maybe hinder the Swiss driver sometimes. But hey, still solid results.
Yeah, definitely. Moritz also already has experience, as we see someone go off there. Moritz already has experience racing here. Obviously, he was also part of the race,
V-Track, yes.
the V-Track race that happened, I think, 3 weeks ago or something. And he was not very happy with the rainy conditions that happened there, so maybe the nighttime conditions will do better, because as I look at the forecast, basically it says we're clear all around for the weekend, so it's only going to be night.
Yep, and I'm sure every driver here would much prefer a night race over a wet race, because I'll tell you this, wet Indianapolis. Oh, we have April in the wall there. What happened there? And Amethysta in the grass.
Yeah, we have like 4 yellow flags at the same time there for a second, but it's only qualifying at the moment, so it's not like everything has gone wrong or everything is over.
Yeah.
Because the race hasn't started yet. So Nabil Nazran doing very well here and I'm very sorry for not being able to participate here with my teammate today. But I don't want to race on Indianapolis, as I've made quite clear in the beginning.
I mean, I'll tell you this, like, the learning process for the layout is definitely a bit tricky, but once you learn the track, it's actually pretty fun to drive.
That might be the case. It hasn't gotten to me yet. Nabil Nazran, however, seems to be rather comfortable, currently being in P6 overall and 2nd position for silver class.
Yeah, Nabil is definitely not a slow driver. If he gets in the zone, just like Moritz, he can do very solid times, and I've seen that firsthand last season, sadly.
One person that seems to struggle so far in the qualifying is Mike Dieringer, who, as we said earlier, is currently P2 in the Pro Class standings. However, currently 2.4 seconds behind the lead, and that is on single lap pace, and Indianapolis Roval is not the longest of circuits. So this might be an uncomfortable round, maybe the drop round for Michael Dieringer.
Yeah, the infield does not benefit the Reiter at all. The Reiter REX is basically kind of like a GT4, like a cup car in a way. It's very mechanical, so it's gonna struggle a lot on a track like Indianapolis, where it's all flat, where you can't really use something like the compression of the suspension to give the car any sort of grip. And compared to everybody else running the more modern GT3s or more sophisticated GT3s, that's definitely like showing where the Reiter truly sits when it comes to pace difference.
Yes. It's currently like the middle of the qualifying session. We have, of course, a 20-minute qualifying session here. That is for all participating drivers. 20 minutes. That is what you get. Currently, we have 22 drivers on the grid. Adrian Dubrovka just had a yellow flag there. However, it looks like currently there's a bit of a downtime. People are in between their 2 stints. Like, that is, I think, one of the most common strategies in this sort of qualifying, is doing 2 stints. 1 stint like in the first 10 minutes and 1 in the second 10 minutes. Mike Dieringer currently being almost the only driver on a fast lap. Gary Slater is currently trying to improve their lap time, which, well, hopefully they will be able to do that. They are currently not in the best position. However, with 8 tenths up on their time, this could put them into P18 if they do the last few corners correctly. That looked like an improvement there, just judging by the delta. And oh my god, a good run onto the start-finish straight compared to the last time. 1.6 seconds up. Where is this going to put Gary Slater?
And it's right to P16.
Right behind Eric Gregis as well. We have one person who just signed up for AM class, Ahmad Yusmin, it seems. And, well, it seems like they're more of a silver or pro driver by their pace currently.
Yeah, that looks a bit fast for an AM driver right there.
So, yeah, Gary Slater and Eric Gregis are currently fighting for the podium position. We have a bunch of people now out on fast laps. April Carlsworth, for example, being 3/10 up on their time. Coming towards the end of the circuit, now in the last corner. The Queen's Design Racer, 3/10 up on their time. This could improve them into P10. Across the finish line and P10.
Yup, P10 guaranteed. Now, April is not the fastest out of the Queen's Design drivers. That is one thing that we all know. But what April does, I would say, have above a lot of drivers on the grid is a very scary level of consistency when it comes to their lap times.
I have witnessed that myself racing against April on Valencia last season. Holy macaroni. That is
I've witnessed
scary
that
levels,
myself as well. I witnessed that at Monza, and I was gaining. I was gaining and losing. But April's consistently ended up getting the better of me, and I made a mistake. April didn't even budge.
And right behind April Carswell currently is Mike Deeringer, who just improved himself into P11. So there might be a battle. Actually, exactly the same time as April Carswell.
Yeah,
That is lovely to see. Both 1.74 seconds exactly behind the lead, behind Aino Rose. So they seem to be rather on pace with one another today. Ruby Acosta now just started off the lap. However, is already 1.5 tenths ahead of their current time. So they are definitely looking to improve the time, maybe going up into P2, maybe help out their, well, sort of teammate, I guess, with Aino Rose, as this is Queen's Design Panon Formula right now, whereas Aino Rose is racing for Queen's Design Factory Racing, let's put it that way. Obviously, this car of Ruby Acosta shared with Albert George, who's currently in P5.
Yep, Albert and Ruby have seemingly been very good teammates in the last couple of seasons. Seem to be really clicking with each other. So, seems like it was a good idea to partner up between the two.
Definitely. Now, coming up into the last few corners, Ruby Acosta is still at 10th up on their time. How is this last corner looking? Oh, there's a back marker in the way. Hopefully that is not going to impede on the line going through the last corner. Safe through there, but lost a bit of time. Only half a tenth up on their time. Yeah, improved by 55 thousandths. That is not going to be enough to make up a position at the moment.
Yeah, sadly, I think it could have been maybe a bit faster time. It wasn't for the back marker. I believe that was Horvath. There. Yes, Florian Horvath.
Florian Horvath, one of the Austrian drivers. Currently today, I think the only Austrian driver in the grid. We saw last time the outing of Robin Katzelberger, who was rather quick, and well, then there would be me as the third person. However, I am here with you lovely people, and one different lovely person on the grid. Today's Aino Rose. Oh my god. That was not a very good segue. Anyways, Aino Rose is currently just shy of 2 tenths up on their time, coming into these last few corners. Actually, yeah, the last section now in front of her. This is one of the sections that I have most troubles with, especially braking for that sharp right-hander of that section. Einor seemed to get it rather well, though. Currently 2.5 tenths up on time. Where is this going to put us? Is this going to be a full 5 tenths ahead of P2? Indeed.
135.202 for Einor Rose. Right there. Very solid lap there by the Queen's Design driver.
Yes, and we have a bit over 2.5 minutes left on the clock. We have a few drivers getting better times. DJ Overdrive, for example, currently 7 tenths up on the time. I lost a bit exiting this last corner, however. It's still going to be an improvement. Are they going to be able to challenge anyone else? Improving ahead of Daniel Baukamp. Nicely done for DJ Overdrive.
Now right behind Aether UK there on the qualifying standings there.
Indeed, and it seems like there are some front runners who are not quite done yet. Einor Rose is currently on par with the previous lap that we saw.
But they're getting a bit on the grass there. Gotta be definitely slowing down the car a little bit on going down to the final chicane. Need a very perfect line, more or less.
Now, previous season's champion looking to really defend her position as we come into the last few corners. Now lost a bit of time, but it is going to be enough time for one more lap exactly. Further back we have April Carlsvart currently improving. On the back straight right now, there is someone ahead of her.
That is
Nabil Nasran.
Yes, Nabil.
Are going out of the way, actually, and that is going to really help April Carlsvart. She is improving on her time through these S's, coming up onto the, well, the last fast section, the fast right-hander, coming onto the oval straight part here, and into this sharp right-hander. Losing a bit of time on entry. Can she make it up on exit? It looks good for some improvement. I think this is going to... Oh, no!
Oh, whoa. Big hit into the wall there. Oh, it's getting on the throttle a bit too early.
And this seems to be qualifying done for April Carlsvart. Also, it is qualifying done for Michael Dieringer, so we are going to keep those same times between those two drivers. Let's see, Timo Flügelstaller, who is currently looking on pace with their time, trying to make a difference between themselves and April and Mike.
Timo is a returning driver from previous season, still in their Lexus. Oh, we're getting a bit of a slide there. Going on to turn 11.
I have to go right now quickly to Florian Horvath, who is up on their time, coming out of the last corner here. This is a good exit, it seems. About half a second up on their time. This could improve them in front of Gary Slater, maybe even. Yes! And Florian Horvath being able to improve up into P14 right this second. Flügelstaller did not improve. We have Amethysta still on a lap. Oh no, invalidated just there. And this means we are going to start the race any second now. And you see, it's very dark, so we'll try to see the liveries. It is going to be a bit tough. And I think Monte Turismo just joined last second before the race.
No, it's Daniel Hazri.
No, Hasri joined, I think, at the beginning of qualifying, actually.
Oh yeah, I guess they just didn't teleport to the grid. That was weird.
All right.
Oh, well.
Let's go to the front and take a look at the liveries in a bit of a darkness. Make it blank. Here we go. Now we can actually see.
Bright enough.
It's bright enough. We'll take a bit of a closer look today. We have Einor Rose currently leading the way ahead of Julian Metzner. then Ruby Acosta. Ooh, lowering the car. Moritz Hiccup. Albert Gersh. And then we have the BMW of Alessandro Germani. Nabil Nazran. Very proud of you. We have Yusmin, a new driver today. We have Fluglistaler. Karlsbad. Mike Deeringer. Exact same time, these two drivers. Scott Brewer. Amethysta V2. And Florian Horvath. And we have Gary Slater here putting on the lights. We have... Where was I? There, Bintang, Gabriele Cripezzi, Eric Gregis, and that was just lowered. Eric, Ether Yuki, DJ Overdrive, Daniel Baukamp, Adrian Dubrovka is missing, I believe. Oh no, this is Adrian Dubrovka, actually. Weird.
Yeah.
There's just a grid spot empty right now. We have Monte Turismo and Hasri in the back there as we go. Aye. Well, a bit too slow there. In any case, we saw the entire grid, sort of.
Yeah, forgot the camera was tied to Einar Rose there.
Yeah, that is one of the issues that you can have sometimes. Anyways, we're starting the race now, so let's switch over to the race overlay.
As we now look at the bit of a light show there on the main straight as we now head on to the formation lap.
Yes, and... Okay. We've got a bit of time right here. We don't have most of the time because this is a rather short track. So let's quickly talk about what our predictions are for today.
That's a good question, to be honest. I have a feeling that Einar's gonna win this, I think that's a given.
Alright. I mean, so far Einar has been rather consistent. There doesn't seem to be right on pace the challenger for Einar on this track. Julian being the closest, however, historically speaking, he drops off a bit after the first few laps.
Yeah, I think he just pushes a bit too hard at the start of the race and just gradually starts dropping a bit. But maybe today he'll prove us wrong, and maybe he'll put up a decent fight against Einar Rose. Because we have seen Einar has been making at least a few mistakes during qualifying. But maybe that was just for qualifying. So...
Maybe.
Maybe.
So in silver class, well, I'll be honest, I want to see Nabil do well. So I'm gonna tip for Nabil today. He had a really good showing, in my opinion, in qualifying.
I kind of want to say Nabil as well.
Going a bit for the underdog here in silver. And in M class, well, I would have to say Yusmin, just by how it's currently displayed. However, the true winner, I think, will be someone spinning. Who was that?
That's Cripezzi.
That's Gabriele Cripezzi. Oh yeah. Yes. Having to play catch up now a bit. Anyways, Gary Slater, I wanted to say, is, I think, slated to be the winner today again in M class. I know, my jokes are hilarious.
Peak comedian, this guy. Alright, as we now head around the final corner.
Around the final corner we go. We're coming on to the start-finish straight. And let us actually... Let's go blank for this. Let's go blank for this.
Exactly.
Let's watch those cars run as we go green, and the racing is starting. No, we don't actually see a lot of what's going on. There's a BMW in the middle making headway.
They go almost four wide, I believe, into turn one.
Oh no, there's Ruby Acosta losing out to the other BMWs. Albert Josh making up the position, and Germani on the inside. Oh, they squeeze Ruby Acosta to the back.
That was a very sketchy moment there for Ruby. Thankfully, everybody goes out unscathed. No real incidents of any sort. I think we actually had a clean turn one. And
There's a bunch of shuffling that went on, but so far it seemed rather clean. Yusmin, they're using a bit of positions on the outside, and
oh, that's Metzner.
that was Scott Brewer there.
Scott Brewer, yes.
Julian Metzner,
late on the
it
brakes.
seems like the top three, including Moritz Hiccup, Silver Driver, are currently running away with this. As
Yes.
Albert Judge 2 seconds behind. But then we have a bit of a kerfuffle going on in the masses racing for the midfield.
Yes, it was a very. Oh wait, I think I saw somebody else spinning there for a second.
Friedrichstaller went a bit wide there. There was either Yuki is currently set on the road.
Yuki. Yes. Just so right at the corner of the screen as we were watching Timo, there just Aether Yuki is spinning on the turn 7. To now head back to Nabil Nazan, who dropped off a fair few positions, maybe just had a very kind of a bad start there. Right now behind Eric Gregas and being challenged by DJ.
Exactly, the battle is currently between Nabil and DJ. Nabil losing quite a few positions in the starting procedure, and actually we can take a look at how many positions they lost or gained. If I can find it.
And the DJ looks up the inside. Oh, they touch as Nabil goes off the track a little bit. DJ backs off.
It seems like the two losers of the start were Nabil Nosran losing 8 positions and Scott Brewer losing 12 positions. The winners, on the other hand, are Amethysta gaining 4 positions, Bintang getting 4 positions, and Gregis making up 4 positions. Currently, the quickest car on track is actually Füglistaller with the Lexus doing 264 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, the Lexus is a monster in a straight line, so no wonder that it's got the fastest the fastest speed down the speed trap.
Even though we do not have a rather long straight here, we do have a rather long train here of cars, and Adrian Dubrovka is going for a move.
A very sketchy move there. The brakes on the GTR are not that great, at least in terms of how the ABS is, so very brave move to make there, but it just doesn't happen as Bucomp gets to keep the position as they head out of turn 10. I know that's I believe Aether Yuki again.
Was it Aether Yuki? No, Aether Yuki's
okay,
content in the back. Eric Gregis, however, is following. Is that Nabil now? Oh, is Nabil gaining the pace? Nabil is gaining back the pace and trying to claw himself back up to the front now.
I guess.
As further up ahead, we have Timo Füglistaller crawling up on the writer of Mike Deeringer for overall P10.
This should make for a very interesting battle. I believe the writer does have better torque than the RCF, but I believe the RCF pretty much has everything else. The aero, the top speed, it's going to have pretty much everything that Mike doesn't have right now.
However, the writer has Mike, and Mike is a writer machine.
True, because we got to remember, Mike is the type of guy that somehow managed to get the writer into LFM Pro lobbies. Like,
yes,
the way he manages to drive that car, it's honestly magical. Like, there's a sense of wizardry going on with how he drives that thing.
He's a wizard, alright? He's the writer wizard. Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
And
or I guess if you want to be less fancy, the writer whisperer, I guess.
The whisperer. Ooh.
Yeah, you know how people give those titles. Yeah, like the dog whisperer, the horse whisperer.
Yeah, or the writer whisperer.
Yeah.
There's this British TV series. There's only fools and horses. I wonder what he is, a fool or a horse? Maybe.
Okay, that's getting off topic now.
Anyways,
Timo's right on the back of that writer right there. Daring is on the back of Amethysta. This is gonna be an interesting 3-way battle for P9 right now.
But it seems like Amethysta with the modern Porsche has got it through the corners.
Yep. Each car has one thing that the others do not, and always Timo goes off the track a little bit there, losing a bit of ground as Bintang is also closing the gap to this group as well.
Bintang is closing the gap. You are correct. Let's take a look at this as we go down the back straight. Oh, a bit wide there on the exit.
Wide there, yeah.
But listen to that Mercedes.
I think I still prefer the M4.
All engines sound rather nice. Anyways, we're really complaining on a high level there if we say we prefer engine sounds of one car to another.
True, but I'm a connoisseur. Look at Ahmad, Yasmin, and Germani there on the battle for P6. They are in different classes, but close enough in pace. So if they want to fight, it's not necessary. But I'm not going to complain about a good fight.
And it seems like the battle behind for this E9 has gotten more intense. They're closer together as they ever were. And on the start-finish straight, look at this train of four cars here.
Yeah, just all connected to each other as Mike looks up the inside of Amethysta there. Oh, bit of a squeeze, but everybody's going out on Harn. But Mike is at a bit of a disadvantage there. Got to take the wide line to turn 2, but turn 3 is obviously in his advantage. Timo's right in the back of that rider as they go around turn 4.
You see, the big problem for Mike is that the only way he can overtake is after a longer straight. I don't think the back straight is long enough for that, so it really has to be the main straight, the front straight. And if he cannot do that overtake, as you see, Amethysta is already a few car lengths ahead. So it's going to be very difficult to catch up.
Yeah, because it's all about like the lead. It's basically all about the exit of turn 6, or I guess yeah, it's turn 6. It's about the exit onto the back straight there because Mike does have the advantage of having a car that's very torquey, but Amethysta also has the advantage of just having a car that just grips a lot better than everything else. So both cars do have a very solid exit on that corner, but there's a bit more advantage when it comes to Amethysta's Porsche compared to Mike's Reiter.
I get the feeling Mike is now really trying around to get the best of exits possible onto this front straight here, as he went a bit late on the brakes into that corner, into the sharp right-hander. However, this time around, not even close enough to pull side by side. Trying to go for a bit of a late apex maybe here to get more speed, carry more speed. Or just trying to not get, sort of into the shenanigans that Timo might have. Obviously, if I had a Lexus and I would be fighting a Reiter, which is, well, it's a Reiter, I would be wanting to get past too.
Yeah, I mean the Reiter is definitely the slowest GT3 in its class, so I wouldn't be surprised if Timo just wants to get past as soon as he can. But the problem is Mike isn't actually a fast person, so like a fast driver, so it's gonna be hard. So I'd imagine there's some sense of frustration there as Timo looks up the inside. You don't want to do that through those corners. It's all about momentum through those chicanes there.
But it looks like during this lap, Amethysta sort of became the cork in the bottle here, as everyone is bunching up on Amethysta already before the start-finish straight. Mike taking a very wide line here, trying to go maybe a bit on the outside, taking at least the best line possible. Now, as we come onto the start-finish straight, they are so close as they never had been so far. This might be the opportunity for Mike to go past Amethysta.
Yeah, Mike, as we see Mike just maximizing as much as he can, taking a bit of the grass there. But now Timo is up side by side, and don't forget Bintang is also there, just creeping in the background.
I thought this would be the opportunity for Mike, but actually it was the opportunity for Timo to make a position on Mike. It seems like the exit just was not the best here, and Timo Friedrichstahler in the Lexus is now past. Let's see, maybe he has some better idea on how to get past that Porsche of Amethysta up ahead.
The Lexus. This track is one that would really benefits the Lexus platform quite well. As don't forget, after the GT2 update, the Lexus did actually get decently better.
Did it?
To actually, yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't get as much of a buff as the GTR did, but it did get better. So it's actually a decently usable car again.
Oh, that is interesting. Seems like Timo is using that to the best of his abilities right now. Obviously, currently today, we would usually be running a custom BOP. However, since LFM, who we usually get the LOP from, props to LFM at this point, by the way, do not have an updated one yet. So he is racing without any BOP. As Mike goes absolutely wide there in the back. It goes into the pits already. Oh, that's an early pit stop strategy.
I think he's just. I think he might have just doesn't want to get into any battles right now. I think he just wants to get his pit stop early, get into some clean air, and just chug down laps. As we now look at Timo looking at the outside of him, this is it's a brave move to make because that turn one. Well, says turn two is in your advantage as it is a chicane. The turn one is so tight, it basically gives massive advantage to the inside driver anyway.
What I find interesting about the behavior we've just seen is that Amethysta went very defensive. We've never seen that in the past. And there's Yusmin with a yellow flag.
Oh, they spun. What happened there?
Let's take a look at the replay. Right behind is Alessandro Germani. Is there maybe a bit of touching? It seems like there's a bit of contact.
Oh, they both touch, yes.
Oh, there was very little place behind Alessandro Germani, however. Well, between Yusmin and the curb. So I don't know what the issue was here. However, April Carlswood managed to make up a position through that as well.
April got a very solid start. Oh, as Timo is off the track now.
Oh,
just cuts across the curb, bounces off the curb, has no grip, and just goes into the wall. That's heavy damage to the Lexus right there.
That will be rather heavy damage, and I would not be surprised if Timo went into the pits immediately now.
Yeah, that bumper is hanging off. He has to pit right now.
Yeah, he's going off into the pits.
Yep.
I mean, in that regard, this is not the worst thing that could have happened, because the crash happened rather close to the entry of the pits, at least. As we see, Mike is obviously already the first one who managed to clear the pit stop. However, currently, as a back marker, so battling with 61, that is Albert George, actually.
Mike is a smart guy. He knows that the Writer is a disadvantaged car. Albert is 2 seconds faster, and he did just come out the pits. I'm sure he'll let Albert by eventually.
You should, in any case. Ava Yuki here, currently battling for P19 with Adrian Dubrovka. Really struggling, it seems, because that line there is not something you would usually take in a normal state of mind, let's put it that way.
Yeah, you don't want to take the grass in the Porsche. It already has plenty of plenty of rotation already. You don't need the grass. As you now look up the inside, and now we switch to fight between Gary Slater and DJ Overdrive. As DJ mixed the pass down. Oh, goes just way too wide. It's way too late on the brakes right there.
Back behind, Ava Yuki seemed to not make the overtake stick, losing quite a lot onto the straights here. And also, Adrian is racing the Nissan. The Nissan also received a buff recently with the update.
It's actually one of the better, it went from being one of the worst GT3s to being midfield, like one of the more average to, in some cases, good GT3s to use on, depending on the track. And I'd imagine Indianapolis is a solid track for this as Adrian goes wide, and so does Monte Turismo there. Yep.
Both missing the braking points, and Monte, ooh.
Oh, once again.
A bit too early on the accelerator there. Daniel Hasri now looking at the back of Monte in order to potentially make up that position. Further up we have...
Oh, Bintang's off.
We have Bintang's off. What happened there? Let's see, Florian Horvath right behind Bintang.
As they hit through turn 3, I believe that is. Onto the brakes, and oh, just way too late on the brake for Florian.
Seems like it.
Yep.
Bintang off in the grass there, and that was a position gained though for Florian Horvath.
Yeah, we'll see how the stewards feel about that one though after the race.
With Gary Slater here, battling for, actually, not currently in first position, even taking out Usman of the equation in AM class. Eric Regis seems to have gotten the better start, or the better track position, as, well, they're like 10 seconds up the road off Gary Slater right now.
Eric seems to have kept it pretty clean from start to this point in the race right now, as we've already gone through 15 minutes of action already. I just didn't realize. Just things went by so fast. We now look back at Amethyst and Usman, that is. Oh no, wait. Nabil. It just updated. The Ferrari has the power advantage, but see, Amethyst is looking inside. As Nabil is a bit defensive there because he knows there's an advantage to him on the next corner. Now head out of turn 3, now braking for turn 4 there. A bit of a gap between the two, but we'll see. The Porsche in this section will have the advantage, so Amethyst they need to close up the gap as much as they can. Oh, it just goes a bit wide.
There was just a yellow flag there for Usman. Let's take a look what happened there.
Oh,
Ooh.
just a bit of a spin there, yeah.
Losing a bit of acceleration, maybe traction control being rather low for them. Losing a bit of the traction here. And back to Amethyst, who is still trying to catch up to Nabil Nazran.
Yep. The only advantage that the Porsche has up compared to the Ferrari is going to be on the infield. If Amethyst wants to catch up to Nabil right now, he needs a very solid run through the infield, as every single straight line is going to be beneficial to the Ferrari. That thing is a monster in a straight line if you can get the exits right. The gap just keeps opening up. I believe right now it's about a second and a half now to Nabil. Seems like the action has slowed down a little bit. People are starting to slowly settle in to their pace right now.
One person currently looking to get a better position is Alessandro Germani, currently catching up to April Carlsbad. Some corners making up quite a bit of time, but then losing on corner exit.
Ferrari and the BMW are actually decently on pace with each other when it comes to just the cornering and top speed. So it's going to be down to basically who's the better driver right now.
And you know what? Since you said it earlier, let's listen to it. It's a bit grunty.
Yeah, it's like for an inline 6, it's definitely a very grunty engine. Like,
yeah,
it rumbles. Yeah, it rumbles.
Did this engine went through puberty twice?
What?
It's a very deep sound. Like,
yeah, it's a deep sound.
It's a very deep sound. So,
I mean, it doesn't rev high, but it's also not as like it's not like as aggressively tuned as the AMG engine. So it sounds more deep.
Yeah.
Like this thing only revs to like 6,500 or something.
From one BMW to another one, because Ruby Acostas has managed to catch up to Julian Metzner right now. Both of them are quite a ways behind A&O Rose, who's 14 seconds up the road of Julian. But Ruby is trying to get into that P2 position. Ruby has had a bad run of luck recently. So there were some races where they were crashed out, or where they were involved in incidents in any case. And let's just hope that that luck can turn around. I mean, how much bad luck can you have, to be quite honest?
I mean, it seems like luck has turned around considering Ruby's now had a very somewhat poor start to the race, dropping down to P5, P6, and now they're already back at the P3, now fighting Julie Metzner for P2 as they now head down the main straight now, just tucking into the slipstream of that McLaren 720s Evo much as she can. Just does not have the speed yet. That McLaren is just way too fast. That thing is way too fast.
Let it be known that I tried to avoid saying anything. You then said the luck has turned around. So if anything happens, the commentator's curse is now on you. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no, I am very much aware. Don't worry.
And there's a yellow flag right ahead, Daniel Bokamp. Maybe what was that going on? Going for the old layout?
Oh no, just way off. That's all the way back in turn 4.
Yeah,
and
but something else also
something
happened.
else must have happened. Yeah. Just going around. Seems to be going normal so far. Maybe gets on the gas to front. Yep. Just gets on the gas. And off they go.
Gas. I gotta step on the gas.
Maybe not this time.
This time it was a bit too much gas. Unfortunately for
Yes.
Welcome, as Hasri has a stop-go 10?
And what?
What?
That's the first time I'm seeing an SG10.
A Monte Turismo has
For
a
what?
yellow flag. What happened there? Monte Turismo resetting to pits. Oh no, there is a car without lights. Or maybe, is that a replay bug?
I think that's a replay bug.
I hope that's a replay bug.
I mean,
Anyway,
that's Adrian's GTR. I don't think Adrian drives with headlight. But car just snaps. The
And
car
you-
just snapped on Monty there.
And you know when I said earlier about Timo that it could
Oh.
have happened in worse positions, that was one of those worse positions. You don't want to run an entire lap without that. Back to the stop-go 10. I have an idea what it could be. The pit lane is rather short here compared to other tracks. Maybe that is instead of a drive-through for track limits, it is a stop-go 10 here for track limits.
Maybe. Like that sounds reasonable as we look at Scott Burrow and Amethysta now. I believe you're having a bit of a fight there.
Ooh, very close
just
between racing.
Oh, there's a bit of a bump.
That was normal touring car race action there. Oh, and the switchback! Amethyst is going for the switchback and makes it stick. That looked lovely, that move.
Yeah, but Scott Brewer's not done yet. Still in the back of that Porsche right there.
Now let's
As
see.
he now looks up the inside himself.
Is Scott Brewer this evening turning into Scott Speed?
Oh, Amethyst gets a bit loose, and Scott's on the grass. Now here, the McLaren will have the advantages. That thing has much better top speed than the Porsche does. They now head side by side into turn 7. Oh, it just catches the curb a little bit, and Scott flashes his knight. Lets Amethyst know about that move. Hey, don't do that again. They now head through the chicane now onto what is basically as close as we're gonna get to the banking. Now heading down to the chicane, Scott Brewer on the tail of that Porsche.
And there's someone coming up behind that. It seems to be Florian Horvath who's catching up to these two battling.
Yep. Battle is gonna slow him down just enough, and oh, Scott Brewer's off.
Oh, Scott Brewer's entering the pits, I think.
Oh yeah. I think Scott just doesn't want to battle right now, so might as well just get his pits done and over with as Alessandro's off the track.
Was right ahead of Yusmin there.
See what happened here. Oh, Catchfence is blocking our view a little bit. Oh, just dives it onto.
Oy.
That was April Coswell, right?
Yes, that was April Carlsbad right ahead, braking a bit too early for Alessandro, who in turn also braked a bit too late for himself.
Oh, that BMW is looking a bit slidey.
Now maybe there's a bit of damage that is hindering the control. In any case, there's DJ Overdrive battling it out with Ava Yuki right now. They're side by side going into T1.
Well, DJ's a bit wide, but he has the inside. Oh, gets a bit slidey there. Probably caught the grass a little bit, and Aether Yuki just passes right on by. See, will DJ catch back up? The Porsche does have the advantage here through this little section, but if DJ can get a good exit out of turn 6 onto the back straight, and Aether goes a bit wide, way too wide. Let DJ catch up as we now head to the back straight. Let's see, will the Ferrari's engine powerful enough to catch up? The gap is a little big though, so it looks like it's not happening.
Also, I believe that Ava Yuki is running the 992, which does not have the straight line problems. However, the brakes seem to have a bit of problem here, or the application of them, in the Ferrari for DJ Overdrive, going a bit overboard there on the entry.
The 992 does still feel like it's lacking a bit of top speed.
I mean, it is a Porsche. It is a Porsche. Yeah. That's just a fact.
Fair.
You cannot take that away. When it was released, however, it was one of the straight line wonders. Obviously, that got buffed, nerfed a bit down the line as April goes a bit sliding here. And
slide.
But yeah, the Porsche nowadays does still. It is not the best top speed, but it's not as bad as the 991s.
Oh man, if only it had come out before when I was driving the 991.
Now, let's take a look at this. Ruby Acosta is right on the tail of Julian Mesa. This is the fight for P2, overall and in pro class.
Yep, Ruby has been on Julian's rear bumper for a few laps now, so at this point, Ruby just wants to get past. But both of them are just way too on pace, like on par with each other. So it's gonna be hard. Just one of them just has to make a mistake at this point. They're way too close on pace together.
You know, one thing I was confused about recently, I hope you can explain that to me. Yes. I thought that most of the NASCAR tracks, especially the super speedways and the large tracks, have floodlighting. Like on the entire track.
I think that's on Daytona and Talladega. It's not on Indianapolis.
So really only the biggest super speedways.
The popular ones, yes, because they have the funding for it. Indianapolis admittedly doesn't have that much funding, I believe, compared to the others like Daytona, because like besides IndyCar, not a lot of people like series go here. NASCAR comes here for the Brickyard 400, and then I think they added the road course as actually an event last year, so they have 2 events here in Indianapolis, and there's obviously Indy 500 for IndyCar, but besides that, what else? What else can you really think of when it comes to events?
Well, since I'm not too involved in the North American racing scene, at least not the national one, I don't know. What I do know is that Ruby Acosta has got a rather good exit here and is really on the tail right now of Julian Metzner. Not close enough to go for a move at the end of the straight. I think that lends itself also partly to the McLaren just being rather good in the straight line compared to BMW maybe.
Yeah, the BMW is a solid all-around car, but the McLaren is also that with better top speed. And maybe slightly less stable than the M4, but honestly, if you have a good right foot, it doesn't matter.
See, does IMSA race on Indianapolis?
I believe so. I know that GT World Challenge America does. It's actually the finale here, the Indianapolis 8 hours.
Ah, that is the endurance championship. I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The GT World Challenge Endurance does come here for the Indy 8 hours.
No, okay, because Bloodwolf just put the Indy 8 hours in the chat. And I was thinking, is that an IMSA thing or is it GT World Challenge Endurance Cup? But yeah.
No, that's GT World Challenge, yes.
Alright, I see. As half of the grid seemingly already has got the pit stops behind them, the pit stops are creeping up the ladder. the latter, not the latter. As here we go, Julian Metzner is going in, and Rubio Acosta straight behind that.
Yep, the fight is gonna go on way after the pits. Now it's just gonna be a matter of if either of them have damage.
Either of them have damage, either of them find the pit stop earlier, either of them maybe
Break.
go break. Well, it seemed like they were both breaking at the correct time. Nabil Nazran was off track here for a second. Let's take a look what happened here. Oh, this is...
Is that Florian?
I think there's Florian Horvath there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them losing out a bit. Both of them losing out through that. The S's are not the best point on the track to overtake. Aino Rose is also in the pits. We failed to notice that, which means Albert George now has leading kilometers. And Moritz, of course, staying out because Moritz always wants to have those leading laps. Or at least that one leading lap. We'll see whether it will come to that today. But Albert is currently in that position that Moritz so hardly wants.
I mean, hey, it looks good on it looks good on a resume.
It does look good. Julian Metzner has got moving. Rubio Acosta seems a bit further behind than at entry.
Yeah, maybe they had some damage to fix, or maybe just didn't have a good stop.
Yeah, look at that. But right behind Ruby... Who's that right behind Ruby? It's either Yuki, who's a lap behind, actually.
Okay.
And we have Bokamp stopped in the pits. DSQ'd.
Disqualified, what happened there? Oh yeah. We have Nabil. Probably going to be spending a bit more time in the pit than someone normally would because of damage. I'll look back at Moritz hiccup there. In the final sector. Actually pretty close to Albert Judge. What goes into the pits now? Yep, it's Moritz.
Albert Judge got the one lap. Now it's Moritz. Now it's Moritz back.
Yep, time to start stat padding that resume.
I mean, I don't think there's been a single race this season so far where Moritz Hiccup did not lead at least one lap. Yeah.
I mean, look, from what I've been told, I've not experienced it firsthand, to be fair. The Ferrari's very, very good on its tires. So, yeah, like, apparently it's very good on its tires. I didn't feel that when I was doing the Suzuka 4-hour, but apparently I'm just driving the car wrong, which, I mean, fair. I mean, that is very fair. I don't like how the car drives anyway.
If I recall correctly, you are mostly driving front engine cars, so yeah, that is definitely quite a bit different.
Front and rear engine.
Okay.
I don't enjoy mid-engine that. There's funnily enough, there's actually one car I actually kind of enjoyed driving recently, and that's the one like fun car that I enjoyed driving that was mid-engine. That's funnily enough the 2015 Audi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the thing is with the 2015 Audi, it has decent grip. It's not too loose compared to the newer Audis, but it's also still fun. Like it has good electronics because Audi was like the one manufacturer that actually, you know, cared about the electronics back in the day compared to everybody else.
Where are we?
Yeah, so you can actually brake and turn with this thing, unlike some of the other older GTs in the game.
And so, why I switched the cameras around here real quick was to find out whether Albert would come out ahead. Unfortunately, well, within 10 seconds, the pit stops of Rubio Acosta and Julian Metzner seemed to be quite well, and we got the information. Apparently the Bokamp ignored a drive-through penalty and got disqualified for that.
Ah, so they probably cut the track a few times there, I guess.
Maybe it was one of those stop-go 10s being confused about what a stop-go 10 is and then just not doing it, which is not the correct way to go about it. So yeah, now that we're 25 minutes into the race. Actually, let's wait for the last few pit stops before going on a roll call. But yeah, we haven't watched Aino Rose all day, except for the qualifying a bit. So here's a bit of Aino Rose.
Aino just kind of like started well, and they've just been leading the whole race. Still 9 seconds up on Julian Metzner even after pit stops.
Yeah, and Julian Metz in turn being also 9 to 10 seconds up on Ruby Acosta now. So it seems like Ruby Acosta is losing a bit of pace.
Maybe, I guess Ruby just spent all her energy on fighting with Julian. I guess now the panel Formula driver just wants to, bring it home. It's already a podium, no need to risk it too much.
Bring it home.
Surprisingly enough, by the way, Amethyst has actually not done a pit stop yet.
And Moritz has now come into the pits with the leading laps, and Amethysta could get a few lead laps out of this.
I mean, it's a Porsche. It's not going to be that good on his tires. But yeah, Amethyst is just still going.
I mean, as you said earlier, it's about the resume, not about the tires.
I mean, fair, but it's the Porsche.
So let's see. Amethyst is staying out. Amethyst is going for the lead laps. Currently 5 seconds ahead of Aino Rose. Oh, could this be an entire lead lap?
I mean, maybe.
We'll have to see. The best lap of Amethyst during the race is 3 seconds slower than Aino Rose. So that would be enough for 1 lap.
That's still 1 lap. That's one more. That's 1 lap leading overall. Who's going to complain about that right there?
Exactly. A lap is a lap. You cannot take that away. So now all that Amethysta has to do is get around the circuit once.
Yes, and then what they'd have to do another lap, because like if they pit now, Aino's going to pass during the pit lane.
True.
Yeah, so they have to do 1 more lap just to make sure that it counts.
And DJ Overdrive, I think, just entered the pits despite already having done the mandatory pit stop, which is...
Maybe they picked up damage?
Maybe. I don't hope for them. Alright, so let's see Amethysta.
The gap is already closed after 3 seconds.
Actually...
Oh, whoa.
It seems like Moritz Hiccup lost a bit. He's now behind Albert Schurz here.
Oh, that's interesting. Moritz qualified P4, I believe. No.
Qualified P4, led the race for a few laps, and is now behind Albert Schurz. Directly behind Albert Schurz, I might add.
Yeah, I guess just...
I mean, before the pits, I think he was also behind Albert Schurz, because Albert just kind of making up the pace.
Yeah, Albert has always been kind of a... do okay in qualifying, do great in a race type of guy. So.
Sunday driver.
Yep.
Whereas all of the races happen on Sunday today.
Yes.
So yeah.
And yep, Amethyst says let a lap. Let's go.
Yay!
Now, please pit. The Porsche does not like this.
Now, please pit. Exactly. Amethyst, if you're listening to this, please pit. Aino Rose is now really on the back of Amethyst. I wonder if Amethyst is just going to let Aino pass at this point.
I mean, there's multiple factors considering that Aino is 3 seconds faster. They're on fresher tires. They're in an entirely different class. I feel like it's best to let him pass. There you go.
I don't think that was quite letting them pass. I think there was more Aino just forcing themselves past at this point. But
I mean, admittedly, I would have as well.
Fair enough. Me probably too.
Like, yeah, there's too many factors that are slowing that Porsche down. So, and if they don't get out of the way, you gotta kind of make your way past. But I mean, hey, a lap was led.
A lap was led by Amethysta.
That's plenty enough.
That's 1 for the resume of Amethysta, 1 for the resume of Yandere Racing, 1 for the resume of Porsche.
Exactly.
Now let's see. Yes, it is the pits. No! Yes, okay.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Scary there.
If you're doing this, like, if you do this, like, come on. Don't bring me back. Like, I'll pick the Porsche for TGT next season, I swear.
We've got a battle developing, it seems. Timo Fuglistala, who is trying to make up the lost positions due to the early crash, is currently behind Kripetzi and catching up. If we actually go into the passenger cam, it is the Lexus being strong in the straight line that makes it catch up to the Audi without any problem.
But the Audi has very solid cornering abilities compared to the Lexus, so if Competizione can keep that Audi under control, which is pretty hard, but if they can, which they seem to be able to, they'll be able to pull enough of a gap that the RCF should stay just behind enough. But we'll see. That Lex is closing up pretty fast though, so doesn't look like it.
It seems like Frugli has the better pace than Competizione today. Of course,
Yep.
Competizione and... Well, I'm just going to share this story here right now. As Timo Frugli really misses the breaking point there. This seems like an almost exact repeat of what happened early in the race. But this time it was at least not the wall that was hit.
At least this time the car was slow enough that they could just stay on the grass. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that Competizione... I think Competizione prepared for Nürburgring today, which is the race in 2 weeks. Because I was messaged before the race, while the broadcast was already running, that Competizione couldn't find the Nürburgring race server. Well, we're racing in Indianapolis today, unfortunately. That might be why Competizione does not have the best pace today. Not very much time of preparing. However, for Nürburgring in 2 weeks, I'm sure he will be up there on pace again.
I mean, yeah, they definitely had a little bit more practice, even if it was unintentional. So,
yeah,
sure, Competizione will be doing just fine at Nürburgring as we now look back at Alessandro Germani. Look at the back of Mike Daring's writer there. Mike's already made pretty solid bit of positions actually.
Yeah, made up a few positions, started in P11, the race now in P7, P5 in class. That is not the best if you look at the overall ranking on the standings. However, still P5, that is not bad in class. Germani, however, looking to take that overall track position away. Well, BMW, I have a BMW, I must be quicker than that 10-year-old Lamborghini.
I mean, the onboard shows itself as we look at the helicam there. Through the helicam, they're in side by side going through turn 5. That is very sketchy, especially in a rider. Please, Mike, don't do this.
Mike is not going to give that position easily.
Like I said, I don't know how he makes that thing turn.
Oh, but it seems like Germani's just going to go through here, coming back onto the straight. And right behind them is April Karlsvart, who seems to be catching up to them.
Yeah, and right now Mike doesn't want to really fight too much with Germani, I'd say, because April is not too far behind. And as we suspected before, during qualifying, these two are definitely going to fight.
Yes, April and Mike.
Yes.
If I may remind you, if you have just started watching, first of all, welcome. And second of all, Mike and April, who are currently in P8 and P9 in the Reiter and Ferrari 296 respectively, qualified with the exact same time on the grid. So, on one lap pace, they are completely equal. And judging by the fact that there's 15 minutes laps to go, and they're only 1.5 seconds away from one another, it seems that the race pace is also rather equal between the two.
Yep, and April only fell behind due to, I believe, pit stops, as they were leading for a majority of... They were ahead of Mike for a majority of the race before the pit stops. On board with the 296.
I love onboard shots from time to time. You can really, first of all, you can hear the engine. And
exactly.
The Ferrari does not sound bad, by far not.
It sounds decent. I wouldn't say it's the best sounding car in the game.
I mean, as I said earlier, this is complaining on a really high level here because all of these sounds sound amazing. Obviously, they cannot all sound like the Aston V12 or the Jag.
I was gonna say the Lexus RCF, but okay.
Fair enough.
The Lexus sounds meaty. I don't know if you know that.
In my humble opinion, it's the Jag that gets the crown for the best sounding game in this. But obviously, that is an opinion. So,
an opinion that is kind of biased by the fact that you are pretty much a very big fan of Sir Jeremy Clarkson.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm actually. If we're talking about these three idiots, and I'm a fan of James May.
Then okay. Hold on. Okay, you know what? You're safe. I remember for a time being your Discord profile was Jeremy Clarkson.
It was for a while. That is correct, because he made that funny Jag face.
I believe on Steam it still is Jeremy Clarkson though.
I don't think so. No, it isn't.
God damn it.
You know, when I got this current profile pic, I changed everything to it. However, April Carlswood is currently looking up to change the order. That was a segue. And Mike Deeringer getting a bit unsettled there on the exit of the corner. April having to take evasive action, but the top speed of the Reiter is really showing. However, the corner speed allows April in the Ferrari to overtake on the outside of this sharp left-hander after the back straight.
Mike just getting swept around the outside by the much superior cornering abilities of the 296 of April Carlswood there. Now, as you said before, the only advantage that the Reiter has is going to be on the corner exits and on the main straights. But sadly, the 296 is also very strong on those aspects as well.
Yeah, you saw exactly the cornering problem that you have with the Reiter. Mike already went for a very wide entry line into that last corner, but just barely managed to make it stick.
Turn in. Yeah, like I said before, you have to drive this thing like a cup car. If you approach the Reiter as if it was a GT3, you're gonna be failing. But
it is obviously a few years old at this point, so it's basically the same as modern day GT2s, just a bit less power, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. If you actually, Lucas Lichten has actually tested how the Reiter does compared to cup cars, and from his tests, he did the same lap time in the Reiter that he did with the Super Trofeo Evo 2.
That is interesting. Of course, Lucas Lichten, for those who don't know, he's the reigning champion of the V-Track Challenge, which is another championship that is running on this channel here, especially for VTubers. And if Lucas does some tests like that, though, they have some credibility.
But
he's not esports. He's not esports level, but he's a rather rapid driver.
Yes, but when I say test, I mean like he did the finale of TGT in the Reiter for some laughs, and then he was like, after the race ended, he was like, I can probably do the same times in a cup car, and then so he went off. He grabbed the Super Trofeo, and he did the same time.
That is very interesting. What we see here is Nabil Nasran, who is currently catching up to Scott Brewer. This is for overall P10 in the field.
As we now look at Nabil Nasran chasing down Scott Brewer.
You know what? I wanna listen to something right now. So we're going to have to cut away from this battle real quick.
Oh.
The meaty Lexus engine.
Told you. Was I right or was I right?
And
oh, well, that's not right.
That is not the right way around. Let's take a look at what happened there. Through the ashes they go. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that left-hander.
Yep, just a bit too hot going through there and just catches the tail there.
Well, that seems to be, with 10 minutes left on the clock, the P10 dream for Nabil Nasran, overall, of course, ended. It would have been for P3 in class,
That would
which,
have been a
yeah,
nice podium for Nabil there. Nice podium on class, but sadly, unless Scott Brewer makes a mistake themselves, it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening.
it doesn't at the moment. Is there any car we haven't listened to yet? Right. The
GTR,
Nissan.
you're right.
Oh, I like those downshift sounds.
Oh yeah, it sounds very nice on the downshifts.
And as you see here, Adrian just letting past some front markers here. There's Amethyst of YouTube there lapping the Nissan driver.
Yep. Seems like the Nissan doesn't seem to quite like Indianapolis as much as I would have expected.
I also like the upshift sounds on this. Holy hell.
Yeah, sure. The Nissan as a whole is a very nice sounding car.
It is. Let's listen to the Audi. I don't think we've listened to the Audi yet. Oh yeah, this is a sound that I know all too well. Of course, I participated in 4 hours of Donington race that we did last season. Oh, a bit of a misshift there.
Oh yeah, yeah, you drove the Audi for that race, right?
I did drive the Audi for that race. I didn't like it. Well, I grew to like it after about 1.5 hours of driving time on my end, which is half of the 4-hour race.
It's definitely not. It's definitely an interesting car. If you do manage to get the hang of it, it's one of the best cars in the game. The problem is getting the hang of it is a bit hard.
Yes, and well, we didn't have like a setup specifically made for us, so I think there is also something that didn't help our advances. Also didn't help that my teammate hadn't driven the Audi in a while either, so had to relearn driving that car for the 4 hours. Obviously, I had to learn it as well. But yeah, after some time, after getting into the groove, we kind of, well, get into the groove, and the lap times automatically become better.
I remember Donington as actually, it was a nice race. I was doing it as well. I was with Alexander Curto in the BMW.
Yeah.
And we did. I believe actually, yeah, we got P2. I remember that. I drove for 1 hour because I was tired, but I was fast enough where we could keep P2, and that was pretty cool. That was last season. Now we have this season of V4H, where I believe it's in 2 weeks, right? It was next week.
What? V4H?
Yeah, V4H, Silverstone.
It is in next. It is next week actually.
Oh, okay.
Next week on the 25th is the 4 hours of Silverstone. That is correct. Until then, however, we are still in the States, and one thing I haven't mentioned so far is that Mike Deeringer is actually having a home race. Obviously, he's from the US of A. So, well, the USA is quite large, to be quite honest. So you can be from one part of the country, and a circuit basically being a 6-hour drive away, 7-hour drive away.
Actually, you know, what I've seen comparing Americans, like United States citizens and Europeans, is that they see distance very differently, because you know, America's a big place, whilst Europe is, well, America's basically the size of Europe when it comes to like how big it is, considering each state is basically country-sized.
Yeah.
So to an American, a 2-hour drive, well, that's nothing. So European, that really is a long time. That's a long drive.
Well, I can actually confirm that. I am from Austria, and to me, a 2-hour drive is really goddamn long. And 2-hour drive is basically the next drive I have to an international racing circuit, which is Red Bull Ring in my case.
I
And
forgot you were actually that close to Red Bull Ring.
I am within 2 hours of both Red Bull Ring and Salzburg Ring.
Ah, nice.
So both of the internationally renowned Austrian racetracks are within grasp.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I much prefer Red Bull Ring, though. I will say that. It's just a fun track.
That is a fair opinion.
If you want to be honest with me, you can.
The thing is, I personally do not really like Red Bull Ring. I don't like the layout it has with the two basically cut off corners, T1 and what many people say is T2, but is actually T3 at the top of the hill, because these corners are really cut off. The previous Österreich Ring, or A1 Ring, as it was called at times, extended past these points. That's why they feel so unnatural, to me at least.
Yeah, they do. Oh yeah, actually, I'm looking at a map of it now. Holy. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say I think I prefer this, like the A1 ring you're talking about a bit more.
There were actually plans on reinstating the previous Österreich Ring, which is also the A1 ring. They're sort of synonymous, A1 just being a sponsor at that time. And unfortunately that did not go through. What might be going through, however, is Scott Brewer coming on Michael Dieringer on this late stage in the race. 2 minutes left, and Scotty boy is looking for P9.
Scotty boy.
I don't know where I got that from, but in some TV show or movie, there was a Scot and it was called Scotty Boy. So I'm very sorry, but that just sprung to my mind.
Well, I mean, that's a nickname if I ever heard one.
Scotty Boy. I have to Google that later where that is from. Actually, let me Google it right now as the battle commences.
You can't just Google it right now. We have a race.
I have two screens. Apparently, Scotty Boy is a SoundCloud rapper. Okay, interesting.
Oh, okay, never mind.
That's not the one I was referring to. In any case, Mike Dieringer is, well, sort of fending off for his life right here. Scott Brewer really piling on the pressure this late in the race. And there's Einar Rose just a few seconds behind them.
Well, by the way, speaking of the race right now, Scott Brewer asked him if Scott Brewer does want overall top 9 or top 10, but they want 9th place overall. They're gonna have to make a move right now, I'd say, because we're about to go on the final lap. Actually, I believe this is the final lap.
This is the final lap. That is correct. Well, if they stay ahead of Einar Rose, they can go for one more lap. However, they would have to stay ahead of Einar Rose. It depends on whether Einar Rose wants to lap those people here. However, she doesn't need to. She's 17 seconds ahead of Julian Metzler, so could lay off the gas pedal a bit. However, I don't know whether that is in her blood. Scott Brewer really trying here in mid-corner, getting a bit offline.
Also, one thing about the Rider actually is that since it lacks grip, but it doesn't only lack rear grip, it lacks front grip, so it's surprisingly stable-ish. So it's actually somewhat easy to defend with it.
Yeah, it looks like these two will stay ahead of Einar Rose, as Einar is now right behind Ada Yuki, I believe that is.
They're now opening up the inside, therefore Einar Rose, no need to, do anything weird. It's the final lap anyway.
It's the final lap, and Einar Rose is just finishing off. There's a yellow flag for Nabil Nazran. He's, however, alone on track, so let's stay with Einar as she goes towards the finish line. A deserved victory today, pretty much above the rest during every session. No problems getting to the win.
Another very dominant drive there for Einar Rose, once again on the top spot of the podium. Not an uncommon sight for us at track, as Einor's been tearing up the field ever since they joined.
And Julian Metzler finished in second position now. We've got Ruby Acosta finishing in third. Albert Josh is pretty safe in fourth position because Morris Hiccup is 4 seconds behind that. Then 20 further seconds behind with Yusmin, and I think who would do rather well in Pro Split. Alessandro Germani, who has been moved down from Pro, is now in P2 in silver class. April Karlswart is in P8 overall and in P5 in class. Mike Deeringer not being able so far to make up the time. However, there's still a bit of a battle here. Theoretically, April is just 1.5 seconds across, up the one from Michael, so one missed break, and yeah. But yeah, that's not something that April does. April does not miss break.
Yeah, no, April is just something else. April is very like we said at the start of the formation lap during qualifying. I mean, very consistent driver.
Yeah, and April just coming across the line now. Mike Deeringer coming across the line to finish in P9 overall. Scott Brewer in P10, Amethyst in P11, Florian Horvath in 13, Eric Gregg is in 13, Gabriele Cripezzi in 15, Gary Slater in 17, Ava Yuki in 18. Missed Flüglistalle there in the middle. And one thing I will have to mention real quick. Eric, Gary Slater, for the first time, did not win a race this season. It was Eric Gregg actually who won the AM Split race.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done, Eric. And so I really enjoyed it. The time flew past this hour for me. What are your takeaways from today?
My takeaways from today is that I'm very bad at calling the top speed of certain cars.
Okay, fair enough. So this has been an enjoyable race. I hope everyone here in the chat and everyone just watching thinks so too. This has been tracc.eu. We will be here again next week to broadcast V-Track and to broadcast the V4H on Silverstone. And in 2 weeks will be the next race of the GT3, which will be on Nürburgring. So until then, see you on the racetrack.